Welcome to the Educating Kids and Connecting Families podcast. I'm your host, Christine Furman, a homeschool mom, entrepreneur, and educator with over 20 years of experience in the areas of elementary and special education. It's my mission to provide your family with encouragement, inspiration, and connection. I'll equip you with resources and expert advice to help you effectively educate your kids in a fun and meaningful way. If you value education, quality family moments, and community, you're in the right spot. We'll discuss all things parenthood, education, homeschool, ways to balance it all, and so much more. Join us each week as we empower you to raise kind, confident, and independent kids while building community and connection. Hey there, everyone. Welcome to episode 45 of Educating Kids and Connecting Families. I'm your host, Christine Furman, and as always, I am so excited to have you here. So thank you so much for joining us today. Well, I don't know about you, but October flew by for us. We are already into the first week of November, and before you know it, Christmas and the New Year are going to be here. So I just want to share a few of my highlights from October. And I have a really big one that I want to share with you. So the big thing that happened to me in October was I became a best-selling author for the anthology Powerful Synergy. And I am just so excited. It's still such a surreal kind of a feeling to say, number one, that I'm an author. Number two, that I'm a best-selling author. And I could not have done this without an amazing group of ladies that I co-authored the book with, the book coaches that we had, our editor, publisher, and support from each of our communities to be able to make that best-selling author title become a reality. So what I'm going to share about today, not only are the lessons I learned during that process of writing a book, but also the importance of leaning in on your community, whatever that may be. It may be community as a mom, as in this case, as being an author. I needed a different community for becoming an author and a best-selling author. Our community when it comes to homeschooling, running a business, having a successful marriage, raising kids, right? We all have different communities. We have our family, we have friends, and we have these different support systems in different areas. Maybe you're a working mom out of the house, your community for that. Maybe you are working home and the community that you need to be able to work at home while raising your kids. We all need this community. And I'm going to share more about this, but this was the main reason of why I founded Momspiration412 Worldwide. It was to provide support, encouragement, and that community for moms because so many times, as we enter this motherhood journey, a lot of times moms are like, I just need some mom friends. I need some people to lean on to say, I understand what you're going through. And as I have transitioned through these different stages of motherhood, now as a homeschool mom, as a business owner, as a mom of, school age kids, or, we have these different phases. We need to lean into our community. So we're going to talk about that today, but I'm also going to share this journey of what I learned along the way of writing a book. And I just want to ask you these two things. One, do you have a community? Do you have a support system that you can lean on? Maybe it's your husband, your spouse, your family, your kids, friends, your church, community, your neighborhood. All of these are communities that you can lean on. So if you don't, one, I encourage you to reach out in your own area and find community to support you. But two, I encourage you to join the Educating Kids Connecting Families Facebook group because we are here for you. We are here to support you and we are here to encourage you and lift you up on your journey, wherever that may be. The other thing that I want to ask you is it on your heart to write a book? Or have you ever written a book? I would love to know these things. And I want to say, if it is on your heart, I want you just to lean in. And I want you just to think about that a little bit more. And I would love to know because we all have a story and we should all share our story because they are all so unique and so different. And it's so important to share our story and let our voices be heard. So I definitely encourage you join that Facebook group, get in on the conversation, and we're going to chat more about this as we continue through the episode. But those are the two asks that I have. What do you have a community? And have you ever written a book or do you want to write a book? So, writing a book has been on my heart for a while. And I have been asked to co author books. I have been asked to write my own book. And I've had people pursue me. Is it time, Christine? Is it time for you to write your book yet? How about now? How about now? I've been asked to write different anthologies. And every time it just was not the right time. And I just knew it wasn't the right time. It could have been financially, it wasn't the right time. I didn't have the right amount of time, or I was focusing on other projects at that moment that I really didn't have the energy or time or even the mental capacity to pour into a book or even a chapter. And it just never felt right. So when this moment came around, there was something different about it. So I have two of my friends that did this joint book together. One is the book coach, publisher. She has an editor. She has a whole team of people that helps make the book process, writing your own book very smooth and seamless. So huge shout out to Corey Walmsley. A little plug for her there. And then another coach of mine, Marta Greca, she and Corey joined forces. And this anthology was all about moms in business. So when they asked me, at first I was like, yeah, like I'm all over that, but I don't know if it's the right time. And, this whole book was how do moms in business balance it all? And I love this topic to begin with because that's what I encourage a lot of moms to do. Number one, I'm a mom, I'm a wife, and I run a business and I homeschool my kids. And when I told someone this week, I was at the chiropractor office and I told her this, and she said, wow, it's like you have three jobs. And I was like, thank you. Someone that actually understands that all three of those are full-time jobs. And then trying not to lose ourselves and trying to be there for our spouses and our friends and our family. And, it is a lot to balance. And how do we do it all? Right. So that's what this whole book was about. Moms in business, balancing it all. And I'm like, yes, I want to do it, but is it the right time? So I kind of like hawed around a little bit. They asked me before they even started putting anything on social media. And I didn't give them a straight answer. I said, I don't know. I'll let you know. Well, I kept watching their social media posts come up and I kept wanting to say yes, but I kept having this hesitation of like, is this the right time? Do I have time to commit to writing a book, even a chapter in a book? So when I saw their last post and it was about finding the last person, right? We have one more spot left to fill in this anthology. And I thought, this is it. I felt a nudge this time and it was like, you just have to do it. Just do it. So I briefly discussed it with Dan. I had kind of mentioned this to him, but I didn't really kind of go into it because again, it's a financial commitment. It's a time commitment. What are the two things that I talk to him most about? I don't have enough time for everything. How am I going to make this all work? And adding one more commitment, that was something that I was like, I don't know if this is the right time. So it comes up again. It's later in the evening and I tell him about it. And he says, if you think you're supposed to do this, do it. And I just can't say enough for my husband on how supportive he is through all of the processes that I've gone through. And I'm going to share more about that as well, because I need him in my corner 100%. I need him to support me. Could I do it myself? Yeah, I could. But having him to support me and encourage me and be there right there alongside me, oh, it just makes it so much easier. So for him to say, yeah, go do it. If you need to do this, do it. And I said, okay, I'm going to do it. So I message them and I say, hey, I'm in, sign me up. And Marta said, the last spot had been filled. And I was like, okay, I'm not that upset, right? Because if this is meant to be, if I'm meant to be writing a book, it's going to be available to me. So I wasn't too disappointed. However, I would have been disappointed if I saw all of these ladies that got to work together and missed out on that opportunity. So as Marta was able to talk with Corey, they were able to look at the numbers and they said, we got room. We need you. We have room for one more author. And I now was going to be a co-author for this anthology about moms in business, balancing it all. And I was beside myself. I was so excited, but I was like, what did I just do? Right? Oh my goodness, I'm going to be an author. Do I have time for this? And to be honest, I don't even know how great of a writer that I am. I am so much more a verbal processor. I love nothing more than recording a video or podcast or even speaking to a group of people and doing it live. Like I love live videos. That's probably my favorite thing to do. And I teach all the time, right? I teach the kids, I teach my own kids, I tutor other children, and I also help other families that are homeschooling. So I record videos all the time. So that's like my jam. I love to record. So when it comes to writings, I don't know if you guys have experienced this, but looking at a blank screen of like, what am I going to write? Where do I start? Sometimes if I just have a starting point, I'm good to go. But sometimes it's like, where do I even start? Right? Luckily, I didn't have to worry about all of that. I didn't have to look at a blank screen and, just kind of stare at it and say, what do I do next? Luckily, Corey and her team are just absolutely amazing. I cannot speak more highly of her. And everything was already planned out. I remember we started writing, like she started planning out meetings way, way earlier than I expected. I think it was in January. And the book wasn't being released until October. We may have even started before that. I'm not sure. But I was like, wow, that's pretty early, but it's needed. There's so many steps and so many processes. And to make it less stressful and to be able to, just kind of go through the steps. What is next? What's next? So by doing this, by planning it out so early in advance, it just was so seamless. We had Zoom meetings, deadlines, edits, collaboration with this amazing group of ladies, such powerhouse ladies, right? That I got to co-author this book with. And it just was so easy. That was probably my biggest takeaway. Could I have done this by myself? Probably. But would I have looked at a screen and looked at that blank page and that cursor and been like, where do I start? This is where all this community and support's going to come in again, because by joining that community of former authors, Corey is a published author, Marta's a published author. Some of those other ladies have done anthologies. Corey has published and has helped, this process multiple times now. I was now able to work with a community of ladies that have gone through this process. And it just made it so easy. It was like, okay, this is what's next. This is what you need to do next. And I just truly, truly enjoyed the entire process. And then as we get the edits and we're starting to read through not only our chapters, but now we have the opportunity to read through everyone else's chapter, I realized my chapter was a little bit different from everyone else's. Most shared about one specific instant in their journey that was like very transformational. Where for myself, I shared about my journey and how I became and knew I wanted to be home with my kids, and then what I needed to do. So how I kind of got there, what was my enough moment, and then what did I do in that process? So it was kind of that whole journey of how did I go from a full-time special education teacher, elementary teacher, to now I'm a stay-at-home mom turned homeschool mompreneur. And what does that look like now? And trying to balance it all. So I've kind of had both of those opportunities of being a working mom. And then in the summer, I was a stay-at-home mom, and that was before I even started a business. And now I have the opportunity to look at it from, a business perspective, being at home, working from home, and homeschooling. So really balancing it all out in all of these different aspects. But having that community in all of these different areas made a huge, huge difference. So without my mentor, Dr. Shelley Hipsky, I talk about her in the book. I reference her a lot because without her insight, I don't know that I would have realized that I had an opportunity to teach outside the four walls. From the time I was in second grade, I knew I wanted to be a teacher. And that was just my path, my trajectory. Like God gave me these gifts to educate kids and connect with families. And that's was always my path. When people are like, what are you going to do? I'm going to be a teacher. I knew that. So go to college, become a teacher. You find a job in the classroom, right? That was the process. So did I even realize that I can think outside the box, that I could teach somewhere else than the classroom? Now, I knew I wasn't going to retire a teacher. Like I knew that wasn't the end of my story, that I wasn't going to end up in the classroom for 30 years. Was it going to be administration? Was there something else? There was. I just didn't know what that was. But I always had that feeling of like, I love what I do, but I know that there's something more for me. And I needed community. I needed mentors. I needed encouragement to say, yes, Christine, there is something more for you out there. There are opportunities for you to stay home with your kids and still teach, still bring an income in. And it was like, okay, I didn't know that. Right. So I needed that support. I needed that little nudge of like, you could do this. And then let's full circle back to my husband, because if it wasn't for him, without his support, without his encouragement, I needed that because I needed him to be able to take that leap of faith, right? To be able to leave a full-time teaching position where we had two incomes coming in to the house. And now I'm going to step back from a full-time job to stay home with our kids. Sure, it may balance out with what we were paying in childcare, but what does this look like long term? And many times people will congratulate me. Oh, congratulations on your accomplishment, writing a book or being featured in a magazine or your podcast or whatever those congratulations may be. But I always, always have to take a moment and thank and acknowledge my husband, because without him, would I have all of these opportunities? Maybe. I know I could do things on my own. It would be a lot harder, maybe a lot more stressful. But he has given me the opportunity, my husband and God, of course. They've given me the opportunity to stay home, raise our kids as we see fit, ensure that they have the best possible education, all while dabbling in many different business ideas at the very beginning. Okay. When I decided that, you know what, maybe teaching full time is not going to be for me, what am I going to do? And I'm sure I've shared with you guys, oh, am I going to be an event planner? Am I going to be a skincare rep? A couple different business ideas. They were a struggle and they were not successful at all because I was not using my God given gifts. My God given gifts are to teach and to educate and connect, build communities, and encourage others. And sure, some of those things could, come through with an event planning or, skincare or owning a children's gym. Those were my ideas, right? But those weren't it. That wasn't allowing me to really be home and be present with my kids. So, after many attempts at different business ideas, again, I'm so grateful for my husband's patience, for my ability to be able to lean on him in many different aspects, emotionally, financially, for him to say, you know what, it's okay. You're home with our kids. That's the most important thing. And I know that you are doing big things. So, his support and encouragement, I mean, that just means absolute world to me. So, again, wherever you can find that support, wherever you can find that community, wherever you need a word of encouragement, a word of advice, look for those people because I needed the support of my husband, my mentors, my friends, my family. I needed all the prayers that I could get. I'm so grateful for my family that's there to support me, my prayer warriors all the time to, just lift me up and just offering words of encouragement because sometimes it's hard. Even though it may look like, oh, she's got it all together. She's home with her kids, she's homeschooling, they're traveling. We have moments of difficulty. There's a lot to balance. There could be a lot of pressure as a business owner, and sometimes it's difficult. But when you have the right community, the right support, it definitely makes it a lot easier. And don't get me wrong, of course, there's the people that are right there to support you and lift you up, but there's definitely doubters. There are the negative people that, try to put their negativity out there, but I couldn't let them get me down. Any negative words, I have to give it a positive spin. That's just in my nature. I'm totally like a positive person, glass half full all the time. And I know what I'm meant to do. I know that I'm meant to be home with my kids. I know that I'm meant to homeschool. I know that I'm meant to encourage other families in whatever area that is. I know that I'm meant to educate kids in a way that makes sense to them, regardless of their ability, regardless of their age. I am able to create curriculum at their level. I know that that's what I'm meant to do. And yes, some of the processes, some of the systems, they may be slow. It may be taking me longer to get where I think I want to be, but I know it's all in God's time. I know that I just need to continue to put one foot in front of the other and keep moving forward. So just as we need systems and we need support and we need community, we need all of these things to come together to be able to accomplish these goals. I needed the same thing. I needed the same thing when I was writing my book. So the reason I share all of this is to say, lean on your community. Look to those that are offering you guidance and support. You are capable of amazing things. But sometimes we need a little extra help. We need a nudge from others just to get us going or keep us going and saying, you can do this. You are amazing. We all have hard days. We all have struggles. But who are you surrounding yourself with to say, you can do this? Keep going, one step at a time. And a small setback, it may be needed to move 10 steps forward. And sometimes that's hard to see for sure. But, when it goes back to my book story, like I needed that group of professionals that they've done this before. They've written books before. They mapped everything out. They have it all planned out. They know what the next step is. And I needed that because I needed their help and their assistance to say, okay, this is what's next. Because I wouldn't have been able to do that without them. Writing a book, becoming a best-selling author, I could have done it maybe myself, but it would have taken a lot longer and maybe a lot more financial support, right? So I needed the support of other moms in business to lean in on to be able to say, yeah, we're writing this. We're writing our own story. None of our stories are the same. None of our stories are even close to the same because we all have our own individual stories. Some had to get into business because they have endured trauma or tragic situations. Some were successful corporate moms. They were already successful, but they were missing out on something. And I think that was the underlying thing. What were we missing out on? And how can we make sure that we're present for our family, our own lives? And what do we need to do? So for us, that was starting a business. For you, that may be something different. Maybe it's, how can we be present? Maybe it's not scrolling. Maybe it's getting outside. Maybe it's spending that time with our kids and saying, yeah, I'll play Barbies with you, or let's have a family game night. Let's watch a movie together. Let's go hiking. Whatever that may look like for you and your family. So for our book, we needed the support from not only our own individual communities, but the support from each of our communities to attain that best-selling title. Because we needed everyone to come together and everyone to be cheering for us and saying, yes, we believe in you. So when we hit that number one in motherhood, we celebrated and we rejoiced together, and such a powerful thing that was to be able to say, we did this. We did this together and had that community. And then let me tell you, just last week, I was able to celebrate with that team of wonderful powerhouse women in person at our book launch party. And it was one of the best experiences ever. It was so surreal seeing our names written there and our words in print, signing our chapters, sharing our story, and having community there to celebrate with us and say, wow, look what you did. Congratulations on this accomplishment. And sometimes, I know I do this for myself, sometimes it's easy to look at an accomplishment and say, okay, great, I did that. What's next? What's the next thing? But enjoy that moment. Enjoy the opportunity to celebrate right then and there. And give yourself a pat on the back. Take a day and go and just celebrate and just soak that accomplishment in. And that's for anything, any kind of accomplishment. It could be our kids' accomplishments. Maybe they just got a really hard task. Celebrate with them. A skill, right? Or a hard skill that maybe they're practicing and they just got it. It just clicked. It's time to celebrate. And I think sometimes we forget to take a moment and celebrate all of these wins that we have throughout the day, our week, our month, because we are doing amazing things. Every single day, we are doing something amazing. So look for those positive moments and celebrate them. And remember, keep looking for your community. Keep leaning in on them. Surround yourself with a community that is positive and encouraging, because that is going to take you so far. And again, it doesn't matter what community that is. It could be a homeschool community. Find the one that fits best for you and your family. There are so many different homeschool communities out there, methods, ways of thinking. Find the one that works best for you and your family. Same thing with raising our kids. So many different thought processes. Which works best for you and your family? That could be a conversation with you and your spouse first, It could be a conversation internally. Maybe it's something you're journaling, a conversation with you and God, and saying, who do I want to be? What kind of mom do I want to be? Forget about all the stuff that has happened in your past. Maybe you're the generational break, saying, you know what? I don't want that. I don't want that trauma for my kids. I don't want whatever that may be. And then you find the community that goes with your new thought process. What kind of person do you want to be? What kind of wife? Are you always going to be talking about your husband or lifting him up? Because which one's going to, yield a great marriage? One that we're lifting each other up. And if we do have a problem, we go directly to them. And we have that open communication, that conversation. So again, community, support, encouragement, it's so, so important. Surround yourself with supportive, positive, encouraging people, a community that's going to lift you and your family up. It's not just about you anymore. It's about you and your family, your kids. I know that I had to look at people that we were hanging around and say, what is the environment I want my kids to be in? And I had to change it. I had to speak about that and talk to my husband and discuss it with him about, you know what? I really don't prefer this environment for our kids. And we changed it. And we were in alignment. We had to have that conversation of like, what do we want for our kids? What is the best interest of our kids? And that goes for anything. That goes for any community, for you and your spouse, for you as a person, for you as a business owner. What kind of business owners do you want to be associated with? Well, I just want to tell you that I'm here. So if you are looking for community, please, please be sure to join Educating Kids, Connecting Families. Whatever position you're in, wherever you're at on your journey, a mom, a wife, a business owner, a homeschool mom, I got you. All of those things are right in my lane, and I'm here to support you. And I know we have tons of moms in that Facebook group. They are from all different points of their journey. We have moms that are grandmas now. We have new moms. We have homeschool moms. We have business owners. We have all of those moms in that group. And the main purpose is really to support each other. And the other thing I want to share is if it is on your heart to write a book or even co-author a book, do it. Look for the opportunity to do that, to make that accomplishment happen. And if you need a connection, definitely please feel free to reach out because I definitely have a great recommendation if that is on your heart. So stay tuned because now that I've written one chapter, I've become an author for the Powerful Synergy, which I'm going to share that link here in the comments. Okay. So you can purchase an ebook for 99 cents, I believe, or you can purchase the book itself. So feel free to check that out. My story is in there. And then all of these other amazing women are in there as well, and their stories, and they are so, so powerful. So definitely check that out. But I just want to say, if you have it on your heart to write a book, do it. And now that I've written a chapter, stay tuned because I'm pretty sure there's at least one more book out there coming soon, maybe sooner than I expect. But thank you guys so much for listening. If you have enjoyed today's episode, please be sure to share with a friend. If you have any other moms that are looking for community or looking for that support, share it. Share it with them and let us know. Follow us on social media and be sure to tag us. And we would love to get connected with you. And don't forget, join that exclusive Educating Kids, Connecting Families Facebook group. That link is also in the show notes below. And let's keep this conversation going. I would love to know, do you have a supportive community and someone that is encouraging you on your journey, wherever that may be? So let's stay connected. Let's keep building a supportive community for you and for moms around the world. And one last thing, if you are thinking about homeschooling, if you need curriculum ideas or you would like guidance on your journey, please reach out to me directly. I would be happy to have a conversation and see what is a good fit for you with the EduPlay Learning curriculum and academy. Have a great day, guys. Thank you for listening to the Educating Kids and Connecting Families podcast. I appreciate your support and cherish each and every listener. If you found value in this episode, download it, share with a friend, or leave a review. If you're interested in even more resources for you, activities for your kids, and connection, I encourage you to join our exclusive community, Educating Kids and Connecting Families with Christine Furman on Facebook. You can find the link and any other links mentioned in this episode in the show notes below. I'm looking forward to connecting with you and supporting your family.